The following video was recorded inside a quiet room one afternoon, with daylight pressing through the blinds and everything looking perfectly still until this happens. The small knob on that cabinet jiggles, briefly, sharply, like something tried to pull it open. According to the owner, this occurred shortly after purchasing an antique mirror from an estate sale and bringing it into the home. The mirror had originally come from an old property clearance, with no known history attached to it. In the days that followed, subtle disturbances were reported around the house, but nothing was captured on camera until this moment. Some viewers suggest a simple explanation: settling wood, internal pressure in the cabinet, or a hidden mechanism like a loose string or latch reacting off-camera. But others point out what makes the clip unsettling is not just the movement itself, but the absence of anything visible causing it. There is no one in frame, no interaction, no follow-through, just a single, isolated motion, and then stillness again. Moral of the story, as the owner later put it: be careful what you bring into your home from estate sales, garage sales, or thrift stores, because sometimes what seems like a simple object can come with more than just history attached to it. The following video series documents what a family claims has been an escalating sequence of paranormal activity inside their home, beginning with something their young son kept trying to tell them, and which they, like most parents would, initially dismissed. The boy had been mentioning someone named Jerry for a while, a name that didn't belong to anyone in the household, and the family assumed it was the kind of invisible friend children invent and eventually forget. Then the security camera caught something that made that explanation a lot harder to hold on to. Watch.
I don't see something. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is it, Manu?
Jerry.
Where?
It's right here, next to the gun. It's next to the gun.
What you see is the boy mid-play, suddenly freezing completely still, rigid, alert, visibly frightened, staring at a point off to the right of the frame, where nothing visible to the camera exists. He stays that way for several seconds before running to wake his father, and the moment the man is up, the child points directly at that same spot, insisting something is there. The father investigates and finds nothing.
Green Goblin. The Venom.
No one believed him. That detail matters, because children under 5 are frequently cited in paranormal research as more perceptive to presences that adults can't detect. Some believe it's because they haven't yet learned to rationalize away what they sense. Others think entities like Jerry, which would traditionally fall under the category of an attachment, a presence that fixates on a specific person in the home, often a child, actively choose younger witnesses precisely because they're more likely to be dismissed. The next morning, the family was going about a completely normal start to the day. The woman washing dishes in the kitchen, the man waiting to refill a container, the boy sitting on the sofa watching a movie. Nothing about it felt unusual. Watch closely.
ये maggots कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? What?
What?
Maggots, houseflies के जो worms जो आते हैं ना, दो हैं।
कहाँ मुझे दिखाओ?
इधर है ना?
एक मिनट।
Maggots, not worms. Come and see ना, कितना टाइम लगा रही हो? Take a minute, please.
तो बाहर से आ रहे हैं। Pick up your puzzle after cleaning. Fast. Remove the puzzle. What? मारो कीड़ों को बाहर निकलेने दो। What? चलो fast.
There's a lot of chichi.
Just remove everything I need to mop.
What do you
एक झाड़ू करो एक मॉप करो।
Mommy, look out.
Nothing. Later I will tell you. I want clean house. अरे बोलो ना बाहर और पता नहीं रात से
Relax, maggot. Why are you scared? Babes, बच्चा तुमको देख के सीखता है. ड्रामा मत करो.
मुझे बहुत से डर लगता है. मुझे नहीं पसंद मत.
A small blue toy on the floor rocks forward and then backward on its own with no one near it. The man is several feet away, and the movement has no obvious cause. It's brief, maybe 2 seconds, but it's distinct. Skeptics would point to vibration from footsteps or an uneven floor, and that's a reasonable argument on its own. But set against what the child had been reacting to the night before, a lot of viewers see this as confirmation that whatever was in that room wasn't done making itself known. Small object movements are one of the most commonly reported early signs of poltergeist-adjacent activity. Not the dramatic, furniture-flinging kind, but a quieter presence testing the space, learning the room. The family says they ignored this too. Things didn't stay quiet. Weeks later, after friends, both Christian and Muslim, suggested playing the Lord's Prayer and Ayatul Kursi to clear the apartment of whatever negative energy had taken hold, the family did exactly that. And according to them, what followed was immediate and deeply disturbing. Listen closely. The man and woman are discovered moving through the apartment in visible distress, searching the floor, bending down, the woman pressing her hand to her mouth in what sounds like genuine panic, her voice high and alarmed, while her husband speaks in a calmer, measured tone, trying to keep her composed so the boy doesn't pick up on her fear. They reportedly found close to 33 maggots appearing throughout the apartment with no traceable source. No rotting food, no entry point, no explanation for where they came from. In certain religious traditions, a sudden and unexplained infestation following a spiritual cleansing is interpreted not as the evil leaving, but as it reacting, a sign that something present in the space was disturbed by the prayers and pushed back. The timing here is what keeps this from being easily explained away. Maggots require a food source and time to develop, and finding them throughout the home within hours of playing those recordings, with no origin point discovered, sits uncomfortably outside what a simple pest problem usually looks like. The woman, we're told, has a phobia of worms, which makes her panic understandable on its own. But the man's calm, systematic search suggests he wasn't dismissing it either. Whatever Jerry is, and whatever has been moving through this apartment, it doesn't seem to be fading. It seems to be escalating. What do you make of that pattern? Now in this next clip, two young women are sitting together at a large wooden dining table late at night, candles lit, a handmade Ouija board laid out in front of them, just a piece of paper with letters written across it, and a small, dark object serving as the planchette. No names have been given, so we'll just call them the dark-haired woman and the blonde. They're speaking throughout in what sounds like Swedish or Norwegian, their voices calm at first, focused, asking questions with their fingers resting lightly on the planchette as it drifts slowly across the paper. Then something shifts. Watch.
Ta ned på god dagen. Det er ikke shit. Kødder du nå? Ok, vet du hva? Nå kan jeg få gå hjem, eller? Du kan ikke gå hjem? Nei, jeg tør ikke å gå hjem. Jeg tør ikke å gå nå. Ta det bort, da. Jeg tør ikke å ha det her nå. Ja, men dere, nå faen, nå er ånden her, da. Nå må dere... Ja, velkommen etter av banen. Tenk hvis han kommer og tar meg, da. Fy faen, jeg sitter alene. Faen, og så sitter vi i vinduet også. Hallo, hva skal vi si nå? Jeg fortsetter ikke nå. Jo, kan vi da? Jeg fortsetter, jeg er ikke kjempegøy. Kan dere følge meg hjem, eller? Det er sant. Ja. Jeg skulle aldri vært med på dette, vet du. Det kommer seriøst sånne lysglimt foran skjermen, altså. Det er dritcreepy. Nå trodde jeg døra åpnet seg. Det tingler. Helvete, hele den driten tingler jo. Sjekka.
At first, nothing unusual seems to happen. The movement slows, then stops completely. The women pause and laugh nervously, trying to dismiss the moment, before resetting their hands and placing their fingers back on the board to try again. Some believe that's where things begin to shift. Paranormal researchers who study Ouija activity often caution that participants are supposed to formally close a session before stopping, typically by saying a closing phrase such as "goodbye," to signal that communication has ended. Without that, some believe the session remains open, leaving continued interaction more unpredictable. On their second attempt, the atmosphere appears to change. The glass on the table begins to move unexpectedly, sliding in a way that doesn't match their earlier control of the board. The reaction is immediate: hesitation, uncertainty, and a brief pause as they realize something feels different this time. But they continue anyway, and to many viewers, that decision stands out. Paranormal investigators often warn that continuing after an unusual or unsettling response can intensify the experience, as repeated engagement is believed by some to signal continued contact rather than closure. Whether the movement was coincidence, subtle manipulation, or something else entirely is never made clear in the footage. But what remains consistent is the sense that whatever began during that first session did not fully end when they stopped the first time. This next video was recorded on a Ring doorbell camera at a home the filmer and his partner had purchased from an elderly couple, and at the time it was captured, the two of them were over 100 miles away. The previous owners had been married for 76 years, and according to the filmer, the husband collapsed in the front yard one afternoon while cutting the grass and died on the way to the hospital. So the house had been empty, locked up, with no one inside, and yet the Ring app sent an alert. Listen closely.
We were over 100 miles away when we heard our Ring doorbell sound, and we were super shocked to listen to the sound. Just wait for it. Sounds like the door's opening, and then there's a voice. We purchased the home from a couple that was married for 76 years. The husband collapsed in the front yard cutting the grass and died on the way to the hospital. I think this is him or his spirit trying to get in and find his wife. It's amazing to be married that long and have...
What you hear first is a sharp, distinct click, the kind of sound a door latch makes when it's being turned from the inside. Then, almost immediately after, a long, low, heavily distorted vocalization bleeds through, drawn out and garbled, like a voice that's been slowed down beyond recognition. The filmer believes it's the husband, still trying to come home and find his wife. That interpretation is hard to shake, honestly, especially when you consider the wedding photograph he shares at the end. A couple posed on a grand staircase, married 76 years, and now separated by something no door can open or close. Skeptics would point to audio buffer corruption as a likely explanation for the distortion, but that click comes first, and it sounds deliberate. This next clip centers on a teenager who, in what looks like a completely darkened room, decided to use a homemade Ouija board, the kind scrawled out by hand on white paper with orange marker, letters and numbers laid out just like any board you'd find in a store. There's no elaborate setup here, no candles, no group of friends crowded around it, just one boy, sitting cross-legged on the floor, a single beam of light trained on the board, and an inverted glass or polished stone acting as the planchette. He rubs his hands together, places one flat on the planchette, and waits. Watch.
I'm here at Grant's house. We're doing a Ouija board session in his basement. Okay, to start off, we're going to do one circle around the board to give any entities power. Are there any spirits with us here tonight? How many spirits are in the room with us? Sorry guys, I'm shaking a little bit. I didn't expect this to work. What is the name of the spirit that is with us? Zozo. What is the name of the second spirit that is with us? second spirit that is with us. Zozo. Zozo. God, dude.
What was that?
What the heck was that? We need to end the session right now. Okay, to end the session, we go goodbye. So, goodbye. Dude, what the heck was that?
Oh my god.
We need to get out of here. Dude.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! Get out of here! What the heck was that?
Within the first 20 seconds, the planchette slides toward yes, and then, slowly and deliberately, begins to spell out BYE, letter by letter, before the session devolves into wide, sweeping arcs across the board. Then, at around a minute and a half in, the camera is violently thrown or dropped, the light beam whipping wildly across the floor before the screen whites out entirely. What makes this harder to dismiss is the sequence itself. Many who've studied Ouija sessions point out that goodbye appearing early in a session, unprompted, is widely considered one of the more unsettling responses, interpreted in some traditions as a spirit refusing further contact, or worse, something signaling it's done communicating and ready to act. The ideomotor effect explains involuntary hand movement, sure, but it doesn't explain what sent that camera across the room. You decide what ended that session so abruptly. Now, in this next clip, a man films himself walking through his home late at night after hearing a noise coming from the kitchen. He explains to the camera, speaking in French, that it's been a while since he last made a video because the strange activity had quieted down, but recently he's been finding drawers open around the house, and tonight was no different. He already found one open when he walked in, closed it himself, and then stood in the kitchen asking out loud, directly addressing whatever might be there, who it was and what it wanted. Then he asked, plainly and quietly, if he could have a response. Watch.
Donc salut tout le monde, je refais une vidéo, j'en ai pas fait depuis longtemps parce que les phénomènes avaient un peu cessé entre guillemets. Bon, je retrouve quand même des tiroirs ouverts de temps en temps, comme là, voilà, je fais une vidéo parce que je viens de voir ça. J'ai entendu du bruit dans la cuisine et du coup bah je suis venu. Ok, vous êtes qui? Qu'est-ce que vous voulez? Est-ce que je peux avoir une réponse s'il vous plaît? Est-ce que vous pouvez partir de chez moi? Ok, bon, je referai un live plus tard.
What unsettles a lot of viewers isn't just the movement itself, but the apparent intelligence behind it. This is what investigators sometimes describe as responsive or intelligent haunting behavior, where the activity doesn't just happen randomly, but seems to react directly to the person present. Skeptics will point to a faulty drawer runner or air pressure from an open window, but he'd already been living with this pattern long enough to know something else was going on. He ends the clip asking whatever's there to leave his home. Whether it listened is another question entirely. The following video was recorded by paranormal investigator Frank, the creator behind Franco TV, a channel widely known for his solo overnight explorations of abandoned locations most people refuse to enter, places with violent histories, forgotten tragedies, and reports so disturbing that even experienced investigators often avoid returning alone. Yet Frank has built his reputation on confronting these places directly, documenting whatever might still be lingering in the darkness. This time, he returns to a monastery he had investigated once before. a place long surrounded by unsettling rumors, where locals claim former monks practiced rituals that went far beyond prayer, and where some believe certain areas were permanently sealed off after unexplained incidents involving members of the clergy who reportedly began hearing voices, seeing figures, and behaving in ways no one could explain. And ever since its abandonment, people who pass near the structure at night have reported the overwhelming feeling of being watched, as if something inside never truly left. Just seconds after arriving, Frank immediately captures something deeply unsettling. Watch.
This is where I was seeing things coming out of here. I just got a sound. That's where my car is. Oh. I just heard something over here. I feel so vulnerable right now. Oh God, it is so cold. Next time I come out here again, I'm gonna have to layer up.
In the darkness, what appears to be a pair of eyes reflects, like something was watching him. And even when he went into the monastery to escape whoever or whatever was watching him, something else happened.
What the hell is that? Oh my God. It's like right there. It's coming from inside here. For sure, it's definitely coming in here. Hola? I have to ask. What if there's somebody in here? The chair's still there in the middle.
Heavy bangs like footsteps carrying weight, the kind of sound that suggests something solid, something physical, moving somewhere, just out of sight. And as Frank searches the area, expecting to find a person, an animal, or at least some logical explanation, he finds nothing. Some believe this could be residual energy, the kind said to replay past movements in places where intense emotional or spiritual events occurred repeatedly over time, while others believe this is something far more aware, something intelligent, something that recognized his presence the moment he arrived and chose not to remain hidden. Because in locations like this, investigators often say the most terrifying moments aren't when you see something clearly. It's when you hear something that should not be there and realize it knows exactly where you are. This next video was recorded during a paranormal investigation in a small town in Jalisco, Mexico, at an old hacienda currently undergoing renovation, a property that, according to locals, carries a history far darker than its crumbling walls suggest, with rumors stretching back generations about buried money hidden somewhere on the land, valuables supposedly concealed during times of conflict, and even more disturbing claims that human remains were discovered on the property years ago, though no one seems to agree on how they got there or who they belonged to. One local resident who grew up near the hacienda described experiences that still unsettle him to this day, especially involving the main staircase, where he would hear slow, deliberate footsteps climbing upward, step by step, as if someone was making their way to the second floor, only for the sound to suddenly stop midway, leaving nothing there when he went to check. No person, no animal, just silence. and a heavy feeling that he was no longer alone. When the investigators arrived, they carefully explored the property, documenting each room, each hallway, each corner where something might be hiding. But for hours, nothing significant happened, and despite the oppressive atmosphere and the constant sense of being watched, there was no clear evidence of movement or presence. And eventually, believing the night would end without incident, they began preparing to leave. But just as they were about to go, something changed. Watch.
Una que está aquí y que es la que se ha manifestado. Esta oración fue para ti y para todas las demás entidades que se encuentran aquí. Yo creo que es momento de retirarnos porque... ¡Ay, no mames, no mames, no mames! ¡Ven! ¡Ay, güey! ¡No mames, yo vi algo! ¡Vamos, ven! Algo se asomó aquí. Ven, por favor, algo. ¡Córrele! ¡Ay! No mames, ¿qué hay aquí? ¡Córrele, Meli, ven! ¡Ay, no mames! Es que yo aquí vi que se asomó algo, te lo juro. Ay, ¿quién anda aquí? Yo ya no sé. De verdad. No hay nada. Ay. No, vámonos ya. Vámonos con cuidado. Es momento de irnos. Con cuidado. Ay, no. Yo ya quiero salir de aquí, vámonos. Ya no podemos quedarnos más, de verdad es momento de irnos. Qué terrible lugar, un lugar lleno de energía, una energía muy fuerte la que está aquí encerrada y lamentablemente no podemos hacer nada. Ya hicimos una oración, vamos saliendo. Ya hicimos una oración, pero no hay nada más por hacer, porque yo vengo sin un experto.
From behind the truck, something briefly peeks out, a shape that appears and disappears too quickly to fully identify, followed by something even more disturbing, a faint voice, weak, strained, and emotional, sounding almost like someone crying out for help. Some believe this could be the spirit of someone connected to the remains found on the property, possibly someone who died there and was never properly laid to rest, their presence lingering, unable to move on, trapped between worlds and trying to be heard, while others believe the rumors of buried money may be connected, that if something valuable was hidden there long ago, it may have been guarded, and whoever was responsible may never have truly left. There are also those who believe something darker may exist in places like this, not a trapped soul, but something that imitates distress, something that calls out in human voices to lure the living closer, feeding on curiosity and fear. But until more evidence surfaces, what was hiding behind that truck, and who or what cried out into the darkness, remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, a man named Samuel, who works at ESTE Villahermosa Hospital, captured a disturbing incident after months of staff quietly complaining that strange and unexplainable things had been happening throughout the building. Hospitals, especially those that operate overnight, are often at the center of paranormal claims, not necessarily because of the building itself, but because of what they represent. According to Samuel, co-workers had reported hearing footsteps in empty corridors, equipment shifting when no one was present, and doors opening slightly on their own during the early hours of the morning, especially between 3 and 4 a.m., a time many refer to as the dead hour, when activity is believed to be at its peak. One night around 3:30 a.m., while working his shift, Samuel heard noises coming from the sample collection area. At first, he assumed it might be another staff member finishing late work, but when the sounds continued, he decided to investigate and record. Watch.
Compañeros, hago este video porque estaba escuchando ruidos aquí atrás. Son las 3:25 de la mañana. No veo nada. Miren. Miren. Acaban de ver eso. Se acaba de caer un bote. Se está moviendo esto. No veo nada. No hay nadie por acá. No hay nadie por acá. A la onda. Miren. Se movió esto. Ahorita que venía caminando por acá y no veo a nadie. Miren, 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 miren cómo se mueve eso. Para que vean que no hay nadie aquí.
Objects can be seen moving and falling off on their own. Some viewers believe the movement resembles the behavior of a child. The way the trolley shifts, the way objects are disturbed, it doesn't seem violent, but curious, almost like something small, interacting with its surroundings without understanding the consequences. But what happened next made the situation even harder to dismiss. Samuel later reviewed the hospital's security camera footage, hoping to find a logical explanation. Instead, he captured something else. Watch. If you look closely, something appears to move toward one of the wards. Moments later, a door opens, like something entered the room. It appears small, so many believe the child's speculation might just be right. But until more footage emerges, and until someone finds a clear explanation, whatever Samuel captured that night remains unexplained. In the following videos, a group of explorers set out to investigate an abandoned house that had been sitting empty for years, its broken windows and rotting walls silently holding whatever history had been left behind. They moved cautiously from room to room, documenting everything, opening doors, checking closets, and shining their flashlights into corners where the darkness seemed unusually thick. But there was one particular room they couldn't access because the door was locked. They tried the handle repeatedly, pushing, pulling, even listening closely to hear if something was moving on the other side, but it wouldn't budge. Eventually, with no way in, they gave up and left cameras behind to monitor the house while they were gone, hoping to capture evidence of whatever might be inside. This is what the camera caught. An object inside the room suddenly falls over. What makes this moment disturbing is how it was positioned. It wasn't hanging off an edge or placed somewhere unstable. It appeared balanced and undisturbed for hours, and yet it fell without any visible force acting on it. It was as if something invisible had decided to move it. More than a year passed before another investigator named Meguro, along with his partner Kawasaki, decided to return to the same abandoned house. By then, the location had developed a reputation among explorers, many refusing to enter it at all. But Meguro wanted answers. They set up night vision cameras throughout the building and made the risky decision to stay overnight inside. But the night quickly turned into something neither of them expected. Watch.
川崎くん。川崎くん。 浅井君。
目黒さん、目黒さん。
浅井君。
Meguro tries again and again, pushing harder each time, and soon starts getting an overwhelming sensation, one he later describes as being watched from the other side. And then there's the chair, a single chair that wasn't there earlier, but at the time, what was important was opening the door. After several tense moments, the door finally opened, and Meguro later describes the moment as something he will never forget. Watch.
浅井君。浅井君。
People familiar with the building later came forward with disturbing claims. According to them, that particular room is believed to house an entity, one that doesn't simply haunt the space, but watches, waits, and searches for something far more disturbing. A vessel. Some believe entities tied to locations grow weaker over time unless they attach themselves to something living, something capable of carrying them beyond the place they're trapped. Meguro and Kawasaki later warned others to never enter that room again, and after seeing what happened that night, it's not hard to understand why. This next video shows Amanda Sanders, a woman who says the activity inside her home has been escalating in ways she can no longer ignore. At first, the strange things only happened occasionally, subtle enough that she could convince herself there was a logical explanation. But recently, everything changed, and the disturbances are no longer confined to the middle of the night. They're happening in broad daylight, while she's fully awake, fully aware, and unable to dismiss them. What makes this even more unsettling is her dogs. According to Amanda, her dogs have been behaving in ways she's never seen before. They refuse to enter certain rooms. They hide under the bed for hours. Sometimes, they stare into empty spaces and quietly whimper, as if reacting to something invisible standing right in front of them. Sensing something wasn't right, Amanda began recording more often, hoping to capture proof. And during one of those recordings, this happened. Watch.
Alright guys, it's me and Pops right now. It's starting to happen again. I wanted to catch it. My old man's at work. Nothing, nobody is in here. Like, what? Alright guys, I'm gonna show you. Let me see if I can get my damn. And there's no way out of my house. This is the only door. This door and my back door, which is back there. Fuck, I don't know how to get a flat, or, hold on. Guys, I'm just have to come in here and turn the light on. Okay. So I just wanna find the damn light. Hold on, guys. Prove no one is in here. Like, what the f is going on? No one's in here, right? Shower. Open the shower and show you. Bathroom. Bathroom. No one's. Oh, shit. door just slammed shut again. What was it, Tootsie? What is it, Toot Toot? Something slammed the door on you, buddy? Come here. Where you going? Okay. Anyway, this is a closet. Oh, I can't even open the door on that side. I'll get it open. Hold on. This is my closet. Please excuse me. Vern, are you fucking with that door? Oh my god. What the f, dude? I don't know. Nothing. Like, oh, let me go back here to this closet and show you. Ain't nobody in here. It's a bunch of bags. Like, there's nothing in here. Let me open this. What the fuck? No one here, guys. Just me and Pops. What the f? And the dogs, obviously. Hey, Daisy. What's going on, crazy? Woo!
In the middle of the video, a door suddenly slams shut with force. Moments like this have left her feeling exposed in her own home, unsure whether she's being watched, followed, or something worse. In paranormal cases, escalation during daylight hours is often considered more serious because it suggests whatever is present no longer needs darkness to operate. And then there's the dogs. Many believe animals don't hide unless they feel threatened. Their instinct is survival. If they're hiding under the bed, refusing to move, it could mean they're trying to escape something they can sense but can't fight. Amanda says she's now considering blessing the home, hoping it might calm whatever is inside or remove it completely. But opinions are divided. Some believe blessing a home can help cleanse negative energy and restore peace, especially if the presence is weak or recently attached. Others warn that attempts to cleanse a space without fully understanding what's there can sometimes provoke more activity, especially if whatever is present resists being removed. There's also the unsettling possibility that the presence isn't tied to the house at all, but to Amanda herself. Until she takes the next step and shares what happens after the blessing, this remains unsolved. This next video shows a disturbing series of unexplained events experienced by a man inside his own home. Events that didn't begin suddenly, but built up slowly over time until they became impossible to ignore. It started with small things, objects not being where he left them, faint knocking sounds coming from empty rooms, and moments where his dog would suddenly stop, stare at nothing, and quietly back away like it sensed something standing there. At first, he tried to ignore it, convincing himself it was just the house settling, or his imagination playing tricks on him. But that changed the day he caught this on camera. Watch.
This is camera recording. Huh. Oh, Jesus. Dude.
The mirror that had been placed securely against the wall suddenly falls on its own, but things didn't stop there. Another time, he captured something even more direct. The door suddenly closes with force. If it wasn't wind and no one else was inside, then the question becomes unavoidable. What closed it? By this point, he was no longer brushing it off. He knew something wasn't right. Then one afternoon, shortly after arriving home, he heard loud banging noises coming from inside. Instead of ignoring it, he immediately set up his camera. Watch this.
Banging noises in here. So that's why I'm setting up the camera right now to find out, what the fuck it is. Max, shut up. Everybody here. That was up against the wall.
A shadow appears on the wall, and though he couldn't capture it on camera, the reaction of the dog is enough to know something or someone was definitely there. Still, nothing prepared him for what came next. One night while he was asleep, his phone somehow took selfies, not one, but multiple. Watch him out.
Didn't take the picture because it was taken from the end of my bed. One of them, at least. The other one was like next to me. But also, in those pictures, the first one, sorry. In the first one, there was like another face next to my wife's face. And I was thinking maybe it was like a reflection of my face, but how in the is there going to be a reflection of my face on the pillow? Then on the other one, the other picture, I think my eyes are open. I don't know. I zoomed in. It doesn't look like my eyes are open, but it looks like something's on my eyes. And my hand looks very long. Yeah.
Some believe this could be a camera glitch, a trick of lighting or motion distortion, but others believe something far more disturbing. There's a theory in paranormal cases that entities can manipulate electronics, especially cameras and phones, to capture their presence. Some believe they can even interact with people while they sleep, appearing close enough to be captured without being seen. And if that's true, it would mean whatever is inside his home isn't just moving objects. It's getting closer, until more footage is captured, and until he finds out what's truly behind these events. One terrifying question remains. Is this something attached to the house, or something attached to him? You decide. The following video was captured by a man who had already grown used to being woken up in the middle of the night by things he couldn't explain, to the point where it had become a routine, something he no longer questioned immediately, but instead documented. Almost as if he knew that whatever was happening would eventually show itself on camera. Before this night, he had been dealing with faint knocks at odd hours, objects shifting slightly out of place, and moments where he would wake up feeling like someone had just been standing over him, watching, only for the room to be completely empty when he fully opened his eyes. Over time, it became harder to ignore, especially when he started hearing low sounds at night, scratching, dragging, and at times something that almost resembled breathing, close enough to feel real, but never visible long enough to confirm. So when it happened again that night, when a loud sound suddenly pulled him out of sleep, he reached for his phone, hoping to finally catch something clear enough to explain it all. What he captured instead only made things worse. Watch. The door creaks open first, slow and deliberate, with no one near it. Then a small black creature lunges onto the bed directly at him, letting out a shriek that doesn't sound like anything domestic, followed by a deep growl. Many would immediately label something like this as a demonic presence, and in many reported cases, it's said that when something like this begins to feel comfortable within a space, when it's no longer hiding or limiting itself to small signs, it can escalate even further, sometimes attempting to influence or even possess the person living there. In this next clip, a man in Chihuahua, Mexico, had been running a studio space he'd been using for work. A cluttered, horror-decorated room filled with vintage masks, a porcelain doll, and a large, ornate mirror. He'd already lost a week's worth of security footage because the cloud trial on his camera system expired before he could save anything locally. Then, on a Tuesday night, while he was away recovering from an eye injury, his security camera triggered a movement alert at 9:10 p.m. He ignored it at first. It wasn't until Thursday that he finally came back to check, and that's when things got harder to dismiss. Watch. The security camera, the kind set to tracking mode, begins panning slowly across the empty room on its own, as if following something invisible. Then, a door that was slightly ajar in the background swings fully shut with deliberate, unhurried force. The doll by your right also moved without anyone in sight touching it. When the man arrives with his handheld camera that same night, he walks to a corner of the floor near the desk, a floor he says he'd left spotless, and points the light downward. Have a look.
Fijé un poco. Yo había dejado limpio. Y hay unas huellas ahí. Esos días hizo bastante frío, hizo mucho frío. Bueno, para que alguien anduviera descalzo, lo dudo mucho. Para la gente de aquí de Chihuahua sabe que no se puede andar uno descalzo en la calle. Y luego miren. Yo calzo del 9. Ese pie es enorme, está muy, muy, muy grande. No es mi pie. O sea, la verdad sí está muy, muy grande el pie. Y le digo, ¿oí pasos?
A large, dirty, barefoot print on the floor. He holds his own shoe next to it for comparison. He wears a size 9, and the print is noticeably bigger, both in length and width. There was no sign of forced entry, so from that point on, the debate around what's causing all of this only intensified. Some people are convinced the activity is tied to a large mirror he brought into the studio. According to him, the strange occurrences began almost immediately after the mirror arrived. In paranormal belief, mirrors are often considered portals, reflective surfaces believed to thin the boundary between spaces. Many cultures warn that mirrors can act as gateways, allowing entities to observe, attach, or even pass through. If that's the case here, it could explain the sense of being watched, the movement being tracked, and the idea that something is present without fully manifesting. But others believe the mirror isn't the source, it's the doll. Dolls act as vessels, not necessarily haunted at first, but capable of housing or attracting a presence over time. The fact that the doll moves during the footage and that disturbances seem more physical, doors slamming, objects shifting, leads many to think the doll is what's anchoring whatever is inside that studio. And then there are those who think it isn't one or the other, but both. Some believe the mirror may have opened the door, and the doll became the place where whatever came through decided to stay. Until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. Now in this next clip, a couple decides to do something many people would strongly advise against. Sitting together in a darkened room, candles flickering around them as they place their hands on a Ouija board and ask whatever might be listening to make itself known. Watch. Before this moment, they had already experienced strange activity in their old apartment, which was located right next to a hospital, a detail that, for many people, immediately raises questions, because places like that are often associated with intense emotional energy, loss, and unresolved moments that some believe can linger. They reported hearing unexplained sounds, feeling watched, and noticing subtle disturbances they couldn't explain, which led them to wonder if something might have attached itself to them. So when they moved into their new place, instead of leaving it behind, they made a decision that would change everything, using the Ouija board to find out if whatever they had experienced before had followed them into this new home. Watch.
Anybody there? Is anybody there? Can you give us a sign? Can you give us a sign? Oh my god. There's no way. There's no way. Dude, there's nobody in here. There's nobody in here. What is going on? Oh.
Some viewers believe this confirms their fear that something from their old apartment may have stayed with them, something that didn't leave when they moved. But others argue something far more unsettling, that it wasn't about something following them at all, but about what they may have invited in at that exact moment by choosing to use the board. And that's where the situation takes a more serious turn. Because people familiar with how these sessions are traditionally handled were quick to point out a critical mistake, something that might seem small but carries heavy implications in paranormal belief. The fact that they removed their hands from the planchette without properly closing the session or saying goodbye. According to those beliefs, that final step isn't optional. It's meant to close whatever line of communication has been opened by skipping it. Many believe they didn't just stop the session, they left it unfinished, leaving what some describe as an open doorway, something that doesn't simply close on its own. On another day, they decided to do it again.
Is anybody there? Is anybody there?
No. Jacob, we have to get out. We have to get out.
Moments like this are often used as examples when people talk about the risks tied to using a Ouija board, not because of what is guaranteed to happen, but because of what can happen when boundaries aren't understood or respected. The idea isn't just that something might respond, but that once that line is opened, it may not always be clear what exactly is responding, or whether it intends to leave when you're done. And that's the part many people overlook, because it's not always about whether something followed them from before. Sometimes it's about what they may have invited in, without fully understanding how to send it back. This next video was recorded by a man who has been documenting what he describes as an increasingly aggressive haunting inside his home. And by the time this footage begins, he's already terrified before he even reaches the bottom of the stairs. It started with smaller disturbances, noises in the night, his dog refusing to behave normally downstairs, a growing sense that whatever was in the house was no longer passive. He blames the spirits for recent bad luck in his life, including a car accident. And on this particular night, he grabs his phone and heads downstairs because something has set his dog off again. Watch.
Nouvelle vidéo, on entend du bruit, mon chien s'est énervé d'un coup. Devient catastrophique. Les esprits deviennent agressifs. Oui, j'arrive, ma fille. Et pire, c'est qu'ils me partent la poisse. Là, il y a 2 jours, les gendarmes m'ont rentré dans la voiture. Elle était devant chez moi, mais la voiture est épave. Beaucoup de chance. Beaucoup de chance. Et l'excuse, c'est le keuf avait une poussière dans l'œil. Vous y croyez, vous? Ben, moi, malheureusement. Oh putain, c'est quoi ce bordel encore, putain. Ça fait que ça, c'est incroyable. On essaie de trouver des solutions, mais il n'y a rien qui marche. Cherche, mon chien, cherche. Il y a quelque chose? Oh putain! Ça devient bizarre. What the... Oh putain, ça m'a piqué. Ah! Putain, c'est quoi ça? Mais c'est quoi ce délire? C'est quoi ce délire, putain de merde? Oh là là. Putain, c'est quoi ce délire? Putain de merde. Ça devient n'importe quoi ce baraque. Si vous avez des idées, des conseils. Ah, des idées, des conseils, je suis preneur. Honnêtement, ça... Oh putain, c'était quoi ça? Oh fuck off. Oh sa mère. C'était quoi ça, putain? C'était quoi cette merde? Fille. Ah, putain. Ah, fille, qu'est-ce qui t'arrive? Non. Non. Mais non. C'est quoi ce délire? C'est quoi ce délire, putain de ça? C'est quoi ce voix de sa mère, putain? Sa mère.
He claims to feel fingers pressing along his spine, then shouts out in pain as the camera lurches violently, as if something struck him. Then it got worse. The television switches on by itself, blasting loud, dramatic music into the dark room, and his dog stands near the glass door, with her tail tucked, too frightened to move. He uses the remote to shut it off, but within minutes, it turns back on, this time changing channels and raising its own volume, while the remote sits on the floor in front of it. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, a term used to describe a type of disturbance associated with physical force and object manipulation rather than a simple haunting. But the man's response to all of this is what makes the second clip even more unsettling, because rather than leave, he keeps confronting it. Watch.
Prochaine vidéo, j'ai décidé de me battre contre cette chose malveillante.
Horrible. Ça fait un moment que j'ai pas fait de vidéo, mais là ça empire. De jour en jour. Des marques, des griffes. C'est insupportable. Putain. Ah, c'est toi, tu me fais peur. Alors, il y a quelqu'un? Putain, c'est insupportable. Putain. Putain, c'est quoi cette merde encore? Non, mais c'est pas possible.
He descends the same staircase again, speaking in a tense, hushed voice, saying things are getting worse day by day. Marks, scratches, unbearable. His dog startles him in the dark. Then a loud bang erupts from somewhere off camera. The camera whips sideways, and from inside a closed toy chest, a child's musical melody begins playing on its own. He opens the lid. The music cuts off the moment he slams it shut. For some viewers, a toy activating inside a sealed chest with no one near it lands differently than anything electronic. It feels deliberate, like something announcing itself. And if that's true, the question isn't whether it's still down there, it's whether it ever planned to stop. Now in this next clip, A man is riding his motorcycle alone down a dark, isolated road at night, heading to a wedding, when something on the roadside stops him cold. At that hour, there's usually nothing to see except the road ahead, so when something appears in the distance, it immediately stands out. Watch.
Fuck, man. Oh, fuck, bastard! Oh, shit! Oh, shit, man! Oh, shit, man! Oh!
As his headlight stretches forward, it catches the outline of a figure walking along the road, tall, pale, and unnaturally still in the way it carries itself, not reacting to the approaching motorcycle, not stepping aside, just continuing forward, like it doesn't even acknowledge him being there. And that's where it starts to feel wrong. Some viewers believe what he encountered could have been a ghost, the kind often described in roadside sightings, figures that appear briefly, usually at night, sometimes tied to past accidents or tragedies, known to show up without warning and disappear just as quickly, leaving the person who saw them questioning what they just experienced. So if you were riding down that same road, alone, and that figure appeared in your headlights, would you slow down and try to understand what you're looking at? Or would you keep going and not look back? Now, in this next video, a man claims that every single night when he returns to his home, something is already there waiting for him, and he decides to prove it. The building itself looks abandoned in stretches, a barrack-style structure at the end of a dark gravel path, lit only by a single street lamp overhead. One night, he hears footsteps like someone running around the house. Shortly after, this happens.
I don't know what that was, so I'm gonna set up my camera here. Watch down the hallway.
Some viewers believe this kind of activity points directly to a poltergeist, but until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. The following clip dates back to June 28, 2013, when a man was at home in Arlington, Virginia, during a powerful storm. With nothing else to do, he picked up his iPhone and began recording the storm from his apartment window, capturing 3 short clips simply to pass the time, with no expectation that anything unusual would come from it. Days later, while going through his phone, he considered deleting the videos, but before doing so, he decided to watch them one last time. And at first, nothing stood out. Everything seemed normal, just flashes of lightning and the outline of the storm outside. But after replaying one of the clips a few more times, something finally caught his attention. Something that hadn't been visible to him in the moment while he was recording. Watch. For a brief moment, the faint figure of what appears to be a girl, or possibly a woman, can be seen standing near the window. What makes this detail particularly unsettling is the context surrounding it, because there was no power in the apartment at the time, meaning no internal light source that could create reflections. And directly opposite the window is a solid wall, leaving very little room for the figure to be explained as a reflection from outside. He was also completely alone in the apartment when this was recorded, and more importantly, he did not see or sense anything unusual while filming, which raises the question of how something so visible on camera could go entirely unnoticed in real time. Some interpretations suggest that certain conditions, like storms, power outages, and sudden changes in light, can create the perfect environment for unusual visual anomalies, where shadows and reflections behave in ways that can be easily misinterpreted. However, others believe that moments like this, especially when something appears only on camera and not to the human eye, may point to something that exists outside normal perception, only becoming visible under very specific circumstances. Whatever was captured in that clip remains unexplained. And without further evidence or updates, this incident continues to linger as one of those recordings where something is clearly there, but what it actually is has yet to be determined. In this next video, a cafe that now serves customers every day was once an old hardware store, a place that already carried years of history before it was ever transformed. But what makes this location particularly unsettling isn't just its age, it's what reportedly happened there, because according to accounts tied to the previous owners, the original owner's son passed away inside that very building about 9 years ago, leaving behind a story that didn't end when the place changed hands. The new owners began noticing something strange not long after moving in, because every afternoon at exactly 3 p.m., long after the cafe had closed and everyone had left, they would hear distinct footsteps moving through the space, slow, steady, and consistent, as though someone was walking through the cafe during hours when it should have been completely empty. Curious and unsettled, they decided to set up a camera to see if anything could explain the sounds they had been hearing. This is what they found. If you look closely, something in the frame appears to move, subtle enough to miss at first, but clear enough on replay to suggest that whatever is moving is not part of the normal stillness of the room. In other recordings, they captured additional activity inside the cafe. Watch. In this clip, a chair moves on its own, with no one present in the store at the time, no visible cause, no disturbance in the environment that could explain the motion, which only deepens the unease surrounding what might be happening there. Moments like this begin to shift the narrative from coincidence to pattern, because when movement is repeated in an empty space, especially in a location tied to a past tragedy, it invites speculation that whatever once occupied that space may not have fully left. Now in this next video, a man named Troy begins documenting a series of disturbing events happening inside his home, and from the very beginning, there's a clear pattern to it all. Because whatever is present doesn't simply move things randomly. It almost feels like something is attempting to rearrange the space to its own preference, only for it to come off as chaotic and destructive, leaving rooms in disarray as though an unseen presence is constantly interfering with the natural order of the house. Drawers are left open, objects are shifted out of place, and furniture appears slightly repositioned between moments, not in a way that feels accidental, but in a way that suggests intention, as though something is actively interacting with the environment and reshaping it, even if imperfectly. Watch this.
It's getting more intense.
can hear heavy footsteps, like someone is moving freely from one part of the house to another. The same activity has been reported in multiple areas of the house, including the third floor where his son usually plays, which only adds another layer of concern, because now it's not just about unexplained movement, it's about something potentially occupying spaces meant to feel safe. Watch.
It's happening on the third floor, too.
Again, the same stomping, the same scattered movement of objects, but this time accompanied by several orbs drifting through the frame. At this point, the pattern begins to feel less like coincidence, and some warn that repeated disturbances like this can escalate over time if whatever is behind it is not addressed. And that's where it starts to get more unsettling, because if this is something that's growing more active, then what Troy is experiencing now might only be the beginning of something far more intense. So if you've ever dealt with something like this, or have any idea what steps might actually help in a situation like this, share your thoughts. Because in cases like these, sometimes the difference between things getting better or worse comes down to what you do next, and whether or not you understand what you're truly dealing with. In this next video, two sisters are home alone, inside their bedroom, when their house alarm suddenly goes off.
I'm recording. Wait. Do you hear that? Can you check the security footage? Oh my god.
The security app shows the front door wide open, as if someone has just walked in. Naturally, they assume it's a break-in, but when they replay the exact moment the door opens, there's no one there. To make things worse, a police siren can be heard outside around the same time, adding to the panic. But that was not all that happened.
What is it?
They hear their bedroom door open. Convinced someone is inside the house, they make a split-second decision to escape through the window. After the footage spread, many viewers blamed the wind, but the sisters posted another clip explaining why that theory doesn't hold.
Wondering that maybe the door, it was the wind, but clearly, as you can tell, you have to kind of force down to close it fully. And there's just so much space between, don't mind. There's kind of like a huge distance, so there's no way the wind could have gotten that.
After explaining the door situation, they showed what completely changed their perspective. A moment captured on camera that made them question everything they thought they knew about that day. Take a look.
Clear.
A small, shadowy figure dashes past the camera. It moves incredibly fast, too fast to clearly define. There are no visible features, no clear arms, legs, or face, just a dark mass that crosses the frame and disappears. And if you look closely, the motion camera seems to adjust. almost like it's tracking something moving freely through the house. The sisters say this is a new build, not an old property with some long-forgotten history. So the typical house history explanation wasn't even on their radar. But the sequence is what unsettles them most. The front door opening first, then the bedroom door, then the shadow figure appearing inside. They believe something forced its way in. And that raises an earlier question. If something unseen opened the front door, could it have also opened the bedroom door? Skeptics might argue camera glitches, motion blur, pressure differences in the house, or even a small animal moving quickly past the lens. Security cameras, especially in low light, can distort shapes and exaggerate speed. But the sequence of events, alarm, door opening, bedroom door moving, shadow figure, happening back to back is what unsettles most viewers. So what do you think? A chain of coincidences and technical quirks, or something that entered that house and moved through it freely? The following clip was captured during a paranormal investigation in San Antonio, Texas on December 11th, 2016, inside a location that investigators had already described as deeply unsettling long before this footage was recorded, with reports of cold spots forming without warning, faint whispers heard in empty rooms, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched that seemed to follow anyone who stepped too far inside, especially in the darker sections of the building where the air felt heavier and the silence never quite stayed silent. According to those familiar with the location, it wasn't uncommon for equipment to malfunction or spike unexpectedly, as though something unseen was interfering with the environment, and there had even been previous claims of shadowy figures moving just out of sight, never fully visible, but always close enough to be noticed. Watch.
Do you need help moving on?
Alright, so let's play this shit back.
Let's see if we got quiet.
Is there anyone here right now?
Can you give us a sign that you are here? Reach out and touch my shoulder. My right shoulder. Give my jacket a quick tug.
If anyone's here, could you please state your name? Now we're just using my phone because the other recorder died. Whoa, that was weird. I think. What? I think I panned over here and it looked like,
What appears in the footage is difficult to dismiss because a white mass suddenly darts from left to right with a speed that doesn't quite match anything physical in the space before it seems to shift direction and reach toward the investigator, a movement that feels almost reactive rather than random. The way it moves has led many to believe this isn't simply dust or camera interference, but a ghost, especially because of its shape, its direction, and the timing of its appearance. Moments like this tend to blur the line between explanation and speculation, because while there are always attempts to rationalize what's seen, the behavior of whatever appears in this clip doesn't settle easily into a clear or comfortable answer, leaving behind a moment that continues to raise more questions than it resolves. And for now, whatever was captured in that investigation remains a mystery. The following video was recorded by Ben Bauer and Zach Bryant, who returned to an abandoned factory they had previously explored, a place already surrounded by disturbing rumors, including reports of paranormal activity in a history tied to tragic events, including suicides that many believe may have left something lingering inside the structure. As they approach the building, preparing to enter, something immediately feels off. Watch.
Of course, there's energy walking them together. That's a door switch. That's footsteps down the stairs. That's going down the stairs. That was too cunt.
Hello? Hello? Zach. Oh my god. That was walking down.
It was.
Hello?
That says
No, that's walking. Bro, get out. Bro, no, that's walking.
Before they even make their way inside, they begin hearing footsteps, clear and deliberate, as if someone is already moving around inside, despite the building being completely abandoned. Eventually, they find a way into the building, pushing further inside to investigate, but the deeper they go, the more the atmosphere begins to shift. Strange noises begin to surface, subtle at first, then harder to ignore. Watch.
I didn't hear anything.
check the footage when we get over.
Oh, what the I can't remember if things were like this when we were here.
No, I don't think they were.
Bro, look at the water.
Fuck.
That was mumbling. I just said,
Yeah.
Oh, I got it on camera. Bro. I'm getting it on camera.
What is that walking?
Something's mumbling. Can you hear it? Is it? Bro. Oh. Bro. I feel like someone is here.
Yeah, very now.
Wait.
Don't you know?
They call out, trying to confirm if someone else is inside, repeating themselves, waiting for any kind of response. But the silence that follows feels just as unsettling as the sounds themselves, because whatever is there doesn't answer. It only listens, and that's when they make a decision that many viewers immediately questioned. Instead of backing out, they decide to provoke a response. They bring out a Ouija board. Watch.
Feel that heat as you walk up.
Oh yeah. I reckon did a Ouija board in this room. Yeah, this looks.
I sounded like the room.
Knocking? Yeah, it sounded like boom boom. That was knocking.
Was it?
Bro. Are there any spirits here with us tonight? Move to yes. There it is again. There it is again. What the f*** is that? Bro, that was down here.
Using a Ouija board in a location already tied to death and heavy history is something many consider extremely risky, because rather than simply observing, it opens the door to interaction, inviting anything present to respond, to engage, to make itself known more directly. And almost immediately, something does. They begin to hear movement again, but this time, it's different. The sound of something running up the stairs, not walking, but running towards them. They didn't stay to find out what it was, and honestly, it's hard to blame them, because when something starts moving toward you in a place that should be empty after you've actively tried to make contact, instinct takes over. Most of us wouldn't have waited either. This next clip centers around a moment that likely would have been dismissed instantly if not for one thing: the camera capturing it in real time. A young boy in a wheelchair is moving through what appears to be a quiet area, casually recording, with nothing unusual happening at first. Nothing that would make anyone expect what's about to appear. Watch. At first glance, everything seems normal, but when you look at the mirror behind him, a white figure is seen moving. Some viewers believe this could be a classic apparition, a presence that doesn't fully manifest in the physical space, but becomes visible through reflective surfaces, something that has been reported in various paranormal accounts, where mirrors seem to act as a kind of window rather than just a reflection. Without this footage, without that one moment captured in the mirror, this would have remained just another story no one believed, something easily brushed off or ignored. But now there's something to look at, something to question, and something that still hasn't been explained. Now in this next clip, a man and a woman had just finished saging their home and decided to go live on social media with a group of friends. Something that started as an informal spiritual cleansing, but quickly turned into something neither of them was prepared for. The house was completely dark, the only light coming from the glowing ember of the sage and a small blue electronic light nearby. And the mood, at first, was relatively calm. The man even says on camera that he doesn't feel anything dark in the room, but then the sound started. Watch.
I don't feel anything dark in here. Do you? No. It's probably because we're not like. Please leave. Or get out of here. You're not welcome here. Oh my God. Gotta leave. Should I say Jesus?
Yeah, I don't even know at this point.
We have Jesus here with the... Where's my keys? Okay, let's go. You go first. Go. Look where it's at now. It's behind the couch. Y'all see that? It's behind the couch. Look, where's that? In front of the mirror. Look. See the mirror? It's in front of the mirror now. Turn all the lights on. Turn that light on over there too. I'll turn it on.
A sharp metallic clatter at first, almost dismissible, followed by an extremely violent crash, erupting from somewhere off camera, loud enough to make him yell out and grip the phone. He held his ground, addressing whatever was in the room directly, telling it to leave, even asking if he should call on the name of Jesus. And then, mid-sentence, a heavy thump cut him off entirely. That second sound, the one that interrupted him, sent him running. Both of them left the house for over an hour. But here's the thing, when they came back and unlocked the door, The sage stick, which had been sitting near the blue light in the center of the room, was no longer there. If you look carefully at where it's glowing, you can see it's now positioned near the mirror. Some believe this is a direct response to the spiritual cleansing, that invoking protection, especially through religious invocation, provoked a reaction rather than resolved one. Others think the object moving is the more unsettling detail, because it suggests something wasn't just making noise, it was interacting. So what do you think moved it? The following video was recorded by two employees, a man and a woman, working a closing shift alone at what appears to be a commercial food service location, the kind of place where most people are gone by a certain hour and whoever's left behind is completely on their own. According to the man, who started filming almost immediately after it happened, the two of them had walked into the walk-in freezer during their shift when the door simply stopped opening. No mechanical warning, no explanation, just a sealed exit and the ambient hum of industrial refrigeration. Watch.
We're the only two on shift and we are trapped inside. Literally push. Okay.
Oh my god, stop!
See?
Damn!
We are. Oh wow, it's
oh my
real
god,
dark.
oh my god, oh my god.
We are literally trapped in the walk-in.
Ready?
Look. Push hard, push hard.
I am. Oh my gosh.
So, this is what the spirits do in this store. I can't breathe. Okay. So, I'm out of breath. Am I that out of shape? Spirit, is there a reason that you're doing this right now? Did we do something to upset you? It is so cold.
Oh, I'm freezing.
Okay, so this is some of the stuff that happens. So we're just gonna wait until it's done.
The man presses his full body weight against that large, grey, insulated door, and it doesn't budge. And then the overhead light shuts off entirely, leaving the two of them in the dark with only the woman's phone flashlight cutting through the cold air, their breath visible as vapor, and 6 rapid knocks echoing from somewhere they can't identify. He addresses the darkness directly, asking the spirit whether they'd done something to upset it, and the almost casual way he says it, like he's had this kind of conversation before, is what makes the moment feel less like a stunt and more like something these two already half expected. What's harder to dismiss is the sequence of that knocking, because it didn't come from the door they were pushing against. It came from somewhere else inside that enclosed space, and by the time they share that nervous laugh at the end of the clip, nearly every viewer in the comments had stopped treating it as a coincidence. In the next footage, things don't calm down, they get more structured. Watch.
It's 4:58. We're gonna call another employee and try to get him to come in if this doesn't open in time.
You better pick up, I'm so cold.
Every time we tap. Wait, what if I tap 3? Now you won't flicker the light? Really? Hello? Oh, okay.
What the hell? Oh my god. What the fuck?
It's getting so cold that my hands are pruning. This is good. Can you flicker the light if you are upset? Can you... I don't even know what to ask.
Can you put...
And this knob? Oh, whoa.
What the hell?
Doesn't even do anything.
The light fixture begins responding directly and immediately to what's being said, flickering off the moment the man asks it to, turning back on when he goes quiet, and the woman's reactions, the sharp gasps, the what the hell, the genuine disbelief in her voice, don't read like performance. They read like someone who keeps expecting a rational explanation and keeps not finding one. When a haunting manifests through light rather than shadow, some paranormal researchers describe it as a lower energy presence, something that can't yet move physical objects, but can draw from electrical current, a theory sometimes connected to poltergeist behavior in its earlier stages, where the entity builds from small disturbances toward larger ones. Skeptics would point to a faulty ballast or a worn electrical contact inside the fixture. And honestly, that explanation holds right up until the moment the light responds to a specific question in under a second. Then it gets worse. Watch.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Is there a reason that you have us in the walk-in?
What? Oh my.
What time is it now? We have been in here for like 15 minutes total. Maybe like 11.
Holy shit.
Can you please let us out, Spirit? Is Dan on his way?
I called him. Yeah, he said he's coming now.
Okay. So I'm gonna literally go back here to the back of the walk-in so the fan's not blowing on me. Can you show my arm?
Literally,
I'm like
my hands are freezing.
pruning from the cold. That's how long we've been in here. Oh. I have goosebumps. Just flickering. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god!
They ask the spirit directly whether it has a reason for keeping them inside, and the light flashes on in what feels like an answer, then later flickers erratically, while a cardboard box launches off the top shelf with a force that sends both of them into genuine panic. That box didn't slide. It came off with momentum, and the timing, right as the light was going haywire, and one of them said, "I don't understand this," makes the sequence hard to chalk up to vibration or uneven shelving. Some people watching these clips have started using the term poltergeist, which comes from the German words for noisy ghost, and traditionally describes an entity associated with physical disturbances, thrown objects, slamming doors, disrupted electricity, often linked in folklore to emotionally charged environments, or, in some traditions, to a specific living person in the space acting as an unwitting focal point. Whether that framework fits here is something you'd have to decide for yourself. The escalation continues into the next clip, and this is where it crosses into something more physical. Watch.
Oh my god! Okay, speak. Okay, I'm back under here.
The light's like off now.
I know. I don't understand what we did. Can you just let us out? Like, it's so stupid. Okay, great.
Oh
thank you for that. Is there a reason that we're in here?
Is that like a yes?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Okay, so okay.
Oh.
We honestly don't know what's going on, and it's just flickering. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god. Okay, Spirit. Okay. Just wait. Relax.
After the light responds again to a direct question, the woman saying, "That was a yes," when it flickers, the man reaches up and actually tries to unscrew the cover of the light fixture, seemingly trying to find a mechanical cause, and the moment the light goes out completely, and he's still holding the cover, a white container and several other items are thrown violently from the top shelf. The crash loud enough to make the camera jerk downward, the woman screaming and then laughing from nerves, because sometimes that's all you can do. He tells the spirit to relax, and the fact that that's his response, not running, not shutting the camera off, but talking to whatever is in there with them, says something about how far gone the situation already is. For many viewers following this series, that thrown object is the turning point, because light manipulation can be explained, a stuck door can be explained, but something leaving a shelf with that kind of force in direct response to someone disturbing the fixture is a different category of activity entirely. And like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. The next clip may be the most unsettling of all, because by this point the two of them have been locked inside for roughly 20 minutes and the activity isn't winding down. Watch.
Know what's going on, and it's just flickering. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god. Okay, spirit. Okay. Just wait. Relax. Are you in here with us?
Oh my god.
I have the security cameras up. It's 5:19. 5:19.
Yeah.
And Dan is hopefully on his...
Wait.
Dan is a minute away.
Thank God. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because he probably has no service. Dan?
Oh my god, it's...
The man touches the base of the light fixture again. It flickers and goes dark, and then in the blackout, a deep guttural sound is heard close enough to the microphone that he screams and drops the phone entirely, describing afterward that he heard a whisper in his ear and saw a shadow face before losing control of the camera. And whatever that sound was, it's audible enough on the recording that calling it ambient noise or a mechanical hum doesn't quite hold. He pulls up a security camera feed on a second phone, watching the exterior, checking the time, 5:19, waiting for someone named Dan to arrive from outside, and then the banging starts on the door from the other side, and both of them call out his name like it's the best sound they've ever heard. What they never fully address, though, is what made that sound in the dark before Dan knocked, because that came from inside the freezer, not outside it, and no one else was in there with them. The following video was recorded by a lady and her friend Josh, who decided to experiment with a Ouija board and film the entire session. At first, nothing unusual happens as their fingers rest lightly on the planchette, asking questions into the quiet room, waiting for any kind of response. For nearly 20 minutes, everything seems still until this happens. Watch.
Blow out a candle if you're here. Right then. Lol. Maybe he's not here. Oh, we're assuming it's gender. Are you male or female?
Yeah. Are you male or female? Are you both?
Are you a male? What was that?
It's probably just the house creaking.
No. Oh my god. No.
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 Right. Close
No.
that door. Close
Oh my
that.
god.
Door.
Oh my god.
Close that door.
Nah. I'm gone. No, I'm not.
Without warning, a door behind them slowly opens on its own. She quickly gets up, clearly shaken, and walks over to close it. But another door suddenly slams shut with force, louder, sharper, and impossible to ignore. Ouija boards have long been associated with attempts to contact spirits. Many believe they don't just allow communication, they act as invitations. Invitations for something unseen to step closer, to listen, and sometimes to follow. What makes situations like this especially concerning is one rule that experienced users always warn about. Never remove your fingers from the planchette without properly ending the session by saying goodbye. According to paranormal belief, saying goodbye isn't symbolic. It's a way of closing whatever was opened. Without it, the connection is believed to remain active, leaving whatever answered free to linger. And in this video, viewers noticed something disturbing. When the door first opened, both friends instinctively pulled their hands away from the board. There was no clear goodbye, no closure, just fear and distance. She later explained that after the recording ended, they did say goodbye and threw the board away, hoping that would end everything. But many believe once something responds, simply throwing the board away doesn't undo the invitation, because sometimes the board isn't what brings it in. It's the moment you asked it to come. In this next clip, two friends decide to explore the basement of Danvers State Hospital. They enter through the rear loading garage, and slowly make their way down the long, dimly lit corridor toward the front of the building before turning back. The place is quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavy rather than empty. But while they were walking, something else may have been down there with them, and although their eyes didn't catch it in the moment, the camera did. Watch. If you look closely, you can see what appears to be a figure walking past. Now, some viewers believe it could be a homeless person who simply didn't want to be noticed. But then there's the location. Danvers State Hospital has a long and unsettling history. Originally opened in the late 1800s as a psychiatric facility, it's been surrounded by rumors for decades, stories of harsh treatments, overcrowding, and patients who never left. Explorers have claimed to hear disembodied footsteps in empty corridors, whispers in the basement, and shadow figures moving between doorways long after the hospital shut down. So was this a person moving quietly in the dark? Or could it be something tied to the building's past, still walking the halls it once knew? I'll let you decide. Now in this next video, a woman who enjoys collecting haunted dolls captures something unbelievable. Watch this. At first glance, you must have assumed the obvious: faulty wiring, hidden batteries, or some kind of built-in mechanism. But after looking closely and seeing that there are no batteries inside, you start to wonder. Collectors who specialize in haunted objects often believe certain items can act as vessels. Dolls, in particular, are thought to be ideal because of their human-like form. They have faces, eyes, and bodies, something that, according to paranormal belief, makes it easier for a spirit to attach, observe, and even express itself. Some collectors say they have experienced dolls changing position, making sounds, or even appearing in different rooms without explanation. But this is exactly why so many people can't stand them. There's something deeply unsettling about an object that looks human but isn't alive. Something that can sit silently for years and then suddenly move when no one touches it. It creates the feeling that it isn't just an object anymore, but something aware, something present. And moments like this only deepen that fear. Because if there are no batteries, then what exactly made it move? Until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. The following video comes from a man who, for weeks, kept waking up to find his kitchen in complete disarray. Cabinets left slightly open, utensils on the floor, and containers knocked over. At first, he blamed rats. It was the only explanation that made sense, especially living in an area where rodents weren't uncommon. But something about it didn't sit right with him. Some of the objects being moved were heavy, solid containers, and things that would require real force to push off the counter. Still, he tried everything: traps, repellents, sealing entry points. And yet, every morning, the mess kept coming back. Eventually, he decided to install a camera in his kitchen, hoping to finally catch whatever was responsible. And what he captured left him shaken. Watch this. The movement doesn't look like the items were unstable, then fell. It looks more like something unseen is standing there, choosing what to move next. Some believe this could be a poltergeist, a type of entity known not for appearing, but for interacting physically with the environment. Unlike apparitions that are only seen briefly, poltergeists are often associated with repeated disturbances, objects being pushed, thrown, or displaced without warning. And the kitchen, being a central and active part of any home, often becomes a focal point. What makes this more unsettling is the pattern. This wasn't a one-time incident. It happened repeatedly, night after night, almost like whatever was there had grown comfortable, confident enough to act openly. He fears this is only the beginning, so we can only hope he gets all the help he needs. Unlike the man in the previous clip, who is still searching for answers, this man says he already knows what he's dealing with. For months now, he's been living with what he believes is the spirit of a child. It started with light footsteps running across the hallway when no one else was home, toys he didn't own appearing in different places, and soft giggling late at night, the kind that stops the moment he tries to follow it. Sometimes, he even hears laughter echoing from empty rooms, playful but wrong. He's done everything he could think of. He's cleansed the house, he's performed last rites to make whatever is there move on peacefully, but nothing has worked. And now, the activity has started to escalate. Watch this. First, the kitchen cabinet. Then you can hear something giggle, and then comes the moment that truly terrifies him. For a split second, something that looks like a small hand appears, and there's no way anyone could fit into that cabinet. Many believe that childlike spirits can be deceptive, and they don't always present themselves as harmless. The laughter, the runny, the playful noises, it creates the illusion of something harmless, until it isn't. So what do you think? Is he really being haunted by something childlike? Or is there some logical explanation we're missing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. In this next clip, a guy and his friend are playing card games, enjoying what was supposed to be a normal, quiet night, when suddenly, the bathroom door starts doing this.
Bueno, te dejo primero.
Listo, te regalaste. Truco.
Quiero. No, dale, boludo.
No le des bola, no le des bola, no le des bola porque es peor. No le des bola, ¿qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 3 de la mañana.
Las 3 de la mañana.
Siempre arranca los redes, no le des bola. Hacé de cuenta no pasa nada porque si no es peor, boludo.
No, dale, Lean, a mí me da miedo.
No le des bola.
Mierda.
Dale, dale, juega, boludo, dale. No es nada, son ruidos nomás.
No, ni en pedo eso por la aguja de mierda esa me hiciste jugar otra vez.
Si salió re mal, ni nos contactamos, dale, juega. Ahí te está, para,
dale, boludo, no,
apaga la luz.
No, no apague nada.
Apaga la luz.
No, no apague nada.
Apágala.
No, ya está.
Para.
Vámonos.
Para que le voy a preguntar.
No apagué.
No seas cagón, para. ¿Por qué no quisiste hablar con nosotros ayer?
No pregunté nada.
Para. Para que, a ver, vamos a probar, para. Manifestate si estás acá.
Ya está, boludo.
Ahí está. Entra que yo le pregunto. Dale, entra, dale, no seas cagón.
Yo no voy a entrar, yo me quiero.
Dale, que es la primera vez que me pasa estando con alguien, dale. Encima tengo todo grabado, para.
No grabé, ya está.
¿Por qué me estás molestando a mí?
No grabé, boludo, ya estaba por la mierda.
Para, no te vayas. Para.
No, dale, boludo, no, dale. En serio te digo.
Si te ayudo, ¿me dejas en paz? Para. Entra.
No,
Abrí la puerta.
No entro ni pedo. No, yo me quiero.
Para. ¿Cómo te saco de ahí? ¿Moriste hace mucho?
Ya está, boludo.
Para, entra. ¿Podemos entrar a verte? Entra, dale,
No,
para. Dale, no seas cagón, entra.
No, a mí me da un recagazo.
Dale, por favor, entra.
Pero no
Entra
me
que
dejes solo, no
te
me
grabo de
dejes
acá.
solo, boludo.
Dale.
En serio.
Entra, boludo, dale. Prende la luz.
No, ni pedo.
Pará, déjame a mí. Vení, déjame a mí. Pará.
No hay nada, boludo.
Vamos a salir, salí.
The handle begins shaking aggressively, like someone on the other side is desperately trying to get out. What makes this even more disturbing is the fact that the door isn't locked. With that much force on the handle, the door should open easily, but it didn't. More like whatever or whoever was there was trying to get their attention. According to the owner of the apartment, this wasn't the first time strange things had happened in that bathroom. He's heard violent banging on the same door before, and sometimes, late at night, he hears whispers coming from inside. Not random noises, but what sounds like actual conversations. Multiple voices speaking too quietly to understand, but clear enough to know something is there. But viewers pointed out one critical mistake. He opened the door. There's a long-standing warning repeated in paranormal circles. If something knocks, shakes, or tries to lure you into opening a door when you know no one should be there, you don't open it. Because sometimes, the act of opening the door is seen as an invitation. And then, a comment surfaced that made the entire situation even more unsettling. One viewer claimed to know the guy in the video through TikTok. According to them, the activity didn't stop. It got worse. Much worse that his behavior began to change. He became distant, erratic, and paranoid, like he was constantly being watched. And then one day, he disappeared. No warning and no explanation. Some people believe whatever was behind that door was a demon that attached itself to him and eventually broke him, which makes people wonder, what if he didn't open the door that night? Now, in this next clip, a woman shares the disturbing activity that's been happening inside her home, a house she lives in with her husband and her father-in-law. At first, the incidents were easy to ignore, but recently, the activity has become impossible to dismiss and seems to center around one specific place, her father-in-law's bedroom. Watch this.
Alright guys, some crazy stuff's been happening in my house. I'm trying to catch it on camera. The door shut like 5 minutes ago. I opened it back up. I'm gonna see if it'll do it again. Here we go. Oh shit. Oh my god, that was so crazy. I really didn't think it was gonna happen like that on cue. Jesus. Oh god. Why is my camera glitching out? Oh, that tends to happen when you get close to stuff, I guess. Okay, I just want to show you guys that no one's in here. No one's here but us. This is a closet. Let me try to turn light on so you guys can see. Like, there's nothing in here, nobody in here. Like, what the fuck? Nobody under a bed. You can't see nothing. Ah! Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my god. What the? And guys, I know my father-in-law did not just shut that fucking door. He's like 60 some years old, guys. Like, this stuff. And this is his bedroom, and he's scared to death. Like, he's been sleeping on the couch. And my brother's been sleeping in his bed. But this is crazy. What the? I don't know.
What makes this even more emotional is something viewers found in the room. Her father-in-law lost his wife years ago, and he still keeps a picture of both of them inside the bedroom. Some viewers believe this may not be something hostile at all. They believe it could be her, and that the door slamming could be her way of making herself known, not to harm, but to remind him that he isn't alone. Many believe that fear can create distance between the living and spirits who mean no harm. And instead of reacting with panic, some suggest she helps her father-in-law acknowledge the presence calmly, even speak to her, as a way of bringing peace to both sides. But others see something far more concerning. They warn that not every entity that appears in a familiar space is who it seems to be. Some entities are believed to mimic loved ones, using emotional attachment as a way to gain trust and remain close. The sudden, forceful movement of the door doesn't feel gentle or comforting. It feels aggressive, like something trying to assert control over the space. So if it isn't his late wife, then something else may have chosen that room for a reason. But as always, I'll leave you to be the judge. In this next video, a woman visiting a hospital captures something she didn't notice at the time. But once viewers saw it, it completely changed how the footage was understood. Watch this. If you focus on the right side of your screen, near one of the wards, something briefly peeks out. It's quick, almost cautious, like whatever it is doesn't want to be fully seen. And then, seconds later, it appears again, this time on the left side. What makes this more disturbing is what happens next. She immediately goes back to check those rooms herself, expecting to find maybe a nurse, a patient, or at least someone who had been standing there moments earlier. But when she looks inside, the rooms are empty. Hospitals are places where life and death exist side by side. Every hallway has seen moments of relief and moments of loss. Over the years, countless patients have spent their final hours inside rooms just like those. And many people believe that when someone passes suddenly, or with unfinished emotions, their presence can linger, tied to the very place where they took their last breath. So what do you think she saw? A nurse stepping out of view at just the right moment, or something that never really left those halls in the first place?